If you've scoured the internet for advice or information or opinions about the iPad Pro, you'll find that there is a lot of confusion. You'll hear things like it's overpriced, or it has great hardware, or that its operating system is awful. You'll hear that it's great for consumption like everybody says about iPads, but that it's not so great for productivity and real work. Hey everyone, Tech Dad here, and if you're like me, you're a huge fan of the iPad Pro. I have had this for almost a year and I love this device. It's my only computing device, and I use it for my real jobs. I use it in project management for my day job, and I use it as a teacher at nighttime. But I'll tell you, a year ago when I was looking into buying this thing, I had a heck of a time finding good information about whether it could actually serve as my only device and do well in work and productivity. I was getting really conflicting information. So Apple was advertising this device. It was showing new features like, oh, it had Stage Manager and it could connect to a secondary display. It had Mac level hardware in it, so it had the M4 chip. You could get up to 16 gigs of RAM. It seemed like it would be a powerhouse device for doing real work. It also had productivity apps, so it had the full Microsoft suite on it. It had Outlook, Teams, Excel, Word, etc. But YouTubers and bloggers just kept saying the same thing about it. Oh, it's great for consumption. I can type up emails on it. I love watching Netflix. It's not good for productivity. Stick to a Mac or a PC. And even when I found somebody that did say they were using it as their main device for maybe a couple weeks or a month or even a year, most of those folks didn't do the kind of work that I did. They weren't taking it into the office and crunching out spreadsheets and budgets and looking through contracts. They weren't going into the classroom and trying to teach with it. They were mostly just making videos or writing blogs. So they couldn't really relate to the kind of work I was trying to do. And to be honest, that's why I started this YouTube channel, because there was such a shortage of content about using the iPad Pro in real everyday work that I really wanted to address that need. So I traded in my Mac to get this device, and I've been using it as my work machine for almost a year, and I wanted to document and share that experience with you all. I wanted to see if the iPad Pro could really be a true two-in-one device where it meets my computing needs, but it's also a really awesome tablet. I wanted to use it for everything from productivity to teaching to gaming to watching Netflix. So in this video, I want to talk about a couple of things that are very important for 2025. I want to talk about Apple's vision for this device and where I think they are going with it. And then I want to talk about what the consumer's looking for. What's the power user looking for the iPad Pro, and where does it really need to be going? All right, let's get into it. So when we talk about Apple's vision for the iPad Pro, it's really changed over the years. So when Steve Jobs first introduced it, he wanted it to be that middle category between a phone and a Mac, and he wasn't even sure that a category like that would fly. A lot of folks thought that that was just going to be a meaningless device. There was no room for a middle category. But it definitely took off and people love their iPads. But Apple's gotten away from Steve's original vision and what this device was several years ago. Steve didn't even want it to have a stylus, and obviously we've gotten away from that. The Apple Pencil's been released and it's absolutely wonderful. People love the Apple Pencil. It's useful, it works well, it's great for artwork, it's great for teaching, writing notes. So clearly it's a good idea, and it's okay that the iPad evolved away from the original concept a little bit. Now, when you look at this device, the A16 iPad, which was just released a few weeks ago actually, this iPad makes sense to people. It is priced well. It is $350, which for an iPad is pretty darn affordable. It's compatible with the Apple Pencil USB-C, so you can take notes on it. You can get keyboards for it, so it can do light productivity work. But it's really good at the consumption things. It's cheap and affordable, and you can browse the web and shop and read books and do all the things that people want to do on iPads. So there's no question about this one. Where the confusion comes in is where we start getting the iPad Pro model, and you've got really high prices. This one was $2,000, and it's got 1 terabyte of storage. It's got the M4 chip. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got the nano texture display on top of that OLED functionality. I mean, it's got top-notch hardware in it. But why? Why would Apple put all that top-notch Mac-level hardware in this kind of a device if you're only supposed to just browse the web on it and shop on Amazon? You don't need all that kind of hardware for that stuff. Why would Apple allow this device to connect to a secondary display and open multiple windows and work with a trackpad and keyboard? I think Steve would have flipped out at that idea if he would have seen that. Well, the reason why is because Apple is trying to meet the demands of the power user. There are people like me that want to use this as their only device. That's not a new concept. It's been around for a long time. And I've had a lot of people comment on my channel that they've been doing it for a long time. So I'm not the only one that's wanted to do this. There are lots of folks that want to ditch the Mac and just use the iPad to get everything done in work, play, fun, you name it. And I think Apple is going to continue to push this device to try to meet those needs. Okay, so that's Apple's vision currently, but is it meeting the demands of the consumer like me, the power user? So the power user wants this iPad to do productivity, basically as well as a Mac. But we also want that traditional tablet functionality where we can write on the screen, touch the screen, consume content, and all the other things that iPads do well. And we're getting there. I'll say we're way further along than we were 10 years ago. I would have never attempted this 10 years ago, and I've seen people comment on my channel about how they've been using the iPad for years and years as their only device. So those folks are way tougher than me. I couldn't have done it several years ago. But today it's been working out pretty well. We're like 90% there. Stage Manager was a huge leap forward. Being able to open multiple apps and connect to a secondary display and having real mouse functionality, keyboard shortcuts, all those things make productivity so much easier. But people are still complaining about the OS. iPad OS is just falling short in some ways. And I'll admit I need them to fix a couple of things. If I can connect to a secondary display, then I want to be able to share that screen in a Teams meeting. Safari is like 95% there. If we could just get an option to turn off that swipe to go back feature, I'm good. I would really love to see the ability to connect to multiple displays, especially since you have Mac level hardware in this device and there's lots of accessories you could buy to make that happen, I think. We just need the operating system to support it. I'd also love to see some more Pro apps. A lot of folks talk about Xcode and Motion and all those apps that are available on Mac. We'd love to see those come to iPad, kind of like they did with Final Cut Pro. Give us a version of it at least. Now, for you power users, if you're looking into this, iOS 19 is coming out soon in the beta form in June, and they're already talking about how this release is going to make the iPad a lot more productive, a lot closer to a Mac style level of productivity. I am really excited about that. I cannot wait to see the new features, and I'm expecting them to fix the sort of things that I'm mentioning. So I know Apple can deliver, they have the capability to do it, and I think they're working towards that. So if you're a power user on this device, hang in there. Let's see what comes out in June, and let's see if they fix the gaps here that iPad OS is missing. And if they fix those gaps, I think it will stop the confusion on the role of the iPad Pro and what it's supposed to be doing. If they can get the OS to catch up with the hardware that's in it, I think it's going to make a lot more sense to people, and the internet's going to have a lot better things to say about it overall. You'll have the hardware that can push out that productivity, and you'll have some software options and an operating system that also supports that level of work. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see what happens here in June. Alright, so I appreciate you listening to this video. Let me know what you think about the iPad Pro in the comments and how your experience is with using it. Maybe you're trying to use it for real work. I'd love to hear about that. That's all I got for you. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.